I lent my sister $5K to cover her emergency bills. A week later, she was on Instagram, flashing designer bags. "Relax, you'll survive," she texted. I didn't respond. Just let her think she won. I wake up to 30 missed calls every morning. I never thought I'd be that guy posting on Reddit about family drama, but here I am staring at my phone like an idiot while my sister Lily's Instagram story plays on repeat. There she is, surrounded by Gucci bags, captioning it "Treat yourself," with money she swore she needed for emergency bills. Let me back up 3 weeks. It was around 11 p.m. when Lily called me, sobbing so hard I could barely understand her. Something about final notices, potential eviction, and how her landlord was being totally unreasonable. She needed $5,000 to catch up on bills and avoid getting kicked out of her apartment. "Please, Axel," she begged. "I don't know who else to ask. Mom and Dad are already helping with my car payments, and I can't bear to stress them out more. I'll pay you back from my next few paychecks, I promise." I sat there in my dark living room, watching my own reflection in the TV screen, feeling that familiar pull of Big Brother protection mode. Lily's always been the baby of the family, the one everyone rushes to help. But something felt off this time. "What happened to your savings?" I asked. "Didn't you just get that bonus you were bragging about last month?" "Medical bills," she said quickly. "Remember when I had that weird stomach thing? Insurance didn't cover everything, and then everything else just snowballed. I should have pressed harder. Should have asked for proof of these bills. Should have listened to that nagging voice in my head saying this didn't add up. But it was late, I was tired, and the thought of my little sister being evicted was too much to handle. "I'll transfer the money tonight," I said. "But Lily, I need this back. I'm not Mom and Dad. I can't just write this off." "Oh my God, thank you, you're literally saving my life," she was practically singing. "I'll start paying you back next month, I swear. $500 every month until it's done. You're the best brother ever." I sent the money immediately. She sent back a screenshot of her confirmation receipt, followed by a string of heart emojis and "I love yous." That should have been the end of it. Fast forward to today. I'm scrolling through the Instagram on my lunch break when I see her story. At first I thought I was seeing things, but no, there's my sister, in what looks like a high-end shopping mall, surrounded by luxury shopping bags. The timestamp shows it was posted 2 hours ago. My hands are shaking as I watch the rest of her story. There's a close-up of a Gucci bag, early birthday present to myself, a mirror selfie with a new designer coat, winter ready, and several shots of her and her friends at some expensive-looking restaurant. Ladies who lunch. I text her immediately. Care to explain the shopping spree? What happened to the emergency bills? 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Finally. OMG, don't be dramatic. I needed to treat myself after all that stress. Relax, you'll survive. It's not like you're hurting for money. I stare at my phone, blood pounding in my ears. 10 years of working my ass off, living below my means, saving carefully, and my sister thinks that gives her the right to blow my money on designer bags. Another text from her. "Besides, I told you I'd pay you back. Why do you care what I spend it on? Not everything has to be about being responsible all the time." I don't respond. What's the point? She clearly doesn't see anything wrong with what she's done. Instead, I open my banking app and screenshot the transfer from 3 weeks ago. Then I screenshot her Instagram story. I create a folder on my phone labeled Lily Loan, and save everything there. Something tells me I'm going to need it. My phone buzzes again. And again. More texts from Lily. "Hello? Don't ignore me. You're being really childish, Ren. I can't believe you're making such a big deal about this." "Fine, be that way. Mom always said you were too uptight about money." I mute the conversation and put my phone face down on my desk. The rest of my lunch break passes in a blur of anger and disbelief. By the time I get home that evening, I have 17 missed calls from Lily and a voicemail from my mom asking why I'm harassing my sister about money. The worst part? This isn't even the first time Lily's pulled something like this. It's just the first time she's been stupid enough to post evidence on social media. As I sit here typing this, I'm realizing there's a pattern I've been ignoring for years. The emergencies, that always seem to crop up when she knows someone has money. The guilt trips, the way she always manages to turn herself into the victim when called out. My phone is still buzzing. Lily's switched to messaging me on every platform she can think of. Mom's texting now too, saying we need to talk this out as a family. Dad just sent a single message. "Give me a call when you can." I'm not calling anyone tonight. Instead, I'm making copies of everything. The transfer, the texts, the Instagram posts. I've seen enough Reddit posts to know where this might be headed. Small claims court isn't my first choice, but I'm done being the reliable brother who can be guilted into financial submission. Just got another Instagram notification. Lily's posted again. This time it's a throwback photo of us as kids, with some sappy caption about always being there for each other. The manipulation is so obvious it would be funny if it wasn't so infuriating. I think I need some advice, Reddit. Am I overreacting? Should I just write this off as an expensive lesson about lending money to family? Or should I pursue this legally and risk blowing up my entire family dynamic? Because right now, all I can think about is how many more emergencies are in my sister's future, and how many more family members she's going to try to guilt into funding them. Update 1. First, thank you all for the overwhelming support on my last post. I wasn't expecting it to blow up like that. A lot has happened in the past week and none of it is good. Remember how I mentioned my cousin Abigail in the comments? Well, she reached out to me privately after seeing my post. Turned out she follows me on Reddit. Hey Abby. What she told me made my blood run cold. Apparently, Lily pulled almost the exact same stunt with her last year. Different emergency, same shopping spree aftermath. Abigail just never said anything because she was too embarrassed about falling for it. But that's not even the worst part. The day after my post, Lily showed up at my workplace, just walked right in during lunch hour, making a scene in the lobby. We need to talk about what you're doing to this family, she announced, loud enough for everyone to hear. I had to step outside with her to avoid making an even bigger spectacle. What I'm doing to the family? I asked her. You stole $5,000 from me. I didn't steal anything, she was almost shouting. You gave it to me, and now you're trying to turn everyone against me because you're jealous that I'm actually enjoying my life instead of being a boring hermit like you. That's when she dropped the bomb that Mom had offered to help her out with the money she owed me. Apparently, our parents are taking out a loan against their house to cover it. The same house they're still paying off. The same house they're supposed to be retiring in. I told Lily absolutely not. This wasn't about the money anymore. This was about her taking responsibility for once in her life. She stormed off, but not before telling me I was dead to her. Real mature. Later that night, our brother Josiah called. He's usually the neutral party in family disputes, but even he sounded tired. Mom's a mess, he said. She's convinced you're trying to ruin Lily's life over a little misunderstanding. Dad's not talking to anyone. And Lily, well, she's Lily. I asked him if he knew about Abigail. He went quiet for a moment. That's not all, he finally said. Remember Uncle Eli, the one who helped Lily with her car down payment last summer? Yeah, there was no car payment. She sold the car 2 months later and kept the money. The next day, Mom organized a family dinner to sort things out. I didn't want to go, but Josiah convinced me it would be worse if I didn't show up. He was wrong. The dinner started tense and went downhill from there. Dad sat at one end of the table, staring at his plate. Mom kept trying to play peacemaker while simultaneously guilting me about holding grudges. Lily spent the first 20 minutes on her phone, ignoring everyone. Then she started in on childhood grievances. You were always Mom and Dad's favorite, she said, putting her phone down. Everything was always so easy for you. Perfect grades, perfect job, perfect life. Do you know how hard it is being your sister? Nothing I do is ever good enough. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This isn't about childhood favorites, Lily. This is about you lying to get money from me and then spending it on designer bags. See? She turned to Mom, tears starting. He's always looked down on me like this. Always judging how I spend my money. My money, I corrected her. You spent my money. Oh please, like you can't afford it. You're just mad because for once I'm not living by your rules. That's when Dad finally spoke up. Lily, enough. His voice was quiet but firm. What you did was wrong, period. The look of betrayal on Lily's face would have been comical if it wasn't so sad. She turned to Mom, expecting backup, but even Mom was looking uncomfortable now. I can't believe this, Lily said, standing up. You're all against me. Fine, fine. I don't need any of you. She grabbed her bag, Gucci, naturally, and stormed out. Mom started to get up to follow her, but Dad stopped her with a hand on her arm. Let her go, he said. This has gone on long enough. The rest of dinner was silent and awkward. As I was leaving, Dad pulled me aside. I'm filing the small claims court paperwork tomorrow, he said quietly. I know you've been thinking about it. I'll be your witness. I started to protest, but he cut me off. Son, sometimes loving someone means letting them face consequences. Your mother won't like it, but she'll understand eventually. That was 3 days ago. This morning, I got served with screenshots of every embarrassing photo, text message, and social media post Lily could find from the past decade. She's threatening to expose me if I don't drop the whole thing. The messages range from mildly embarrassing high school stuff to completely fabricated stories about things I supposedly did. Josiah says she's sent similar threats to Dad. Abigail's gotten them too, just for talking to me. Even our youngest cousin got a message asking for dirt on me. I'm not backing down. The small claims paperwork is filed, and I have a folder full of evidence that would make any judge's job pretty straightforward. But I have to admit, watching my family tear itself apart over this is harder than I expected. The weirdest part? In between the threats and tantrums, Lily keeps posting these sugary sweet throwback photos on Instagram. Family is everything, she captions them, like she's not simultaneously trying to destroy everyone who won't enable her anymore. I guess my question now is, How do you handle someone who sees themselves as the victim even while they're actively victimizing others? Because at this point, I'm not sure if winning in court will fix anything at all. Update 2. I genuinely thought this situation couldn't get more absurd. Then I woke up to a voice note from Lily this morning that had me questioning reality. Hey, so I've been thinking, she started, sounding unusually chipper. I know you're upset about the money thing, but I actually have a really amazing opportunity for you. I have over 50K followers now, and my engagement rate is literally insane. I could promote your work to my audience. That's like way more valuable than $5K if you think about it. We could just call it even. I played it 3 times to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. Then I did something I probably shouldn't have. I actually looked into her Instagram analytics. Turns out my cousin Josiah works in social media and has access to tools that can analyze accounts. What we found was interesting. Of Lily's 50K followers, about 40K were bought. The engagement? Mostly bot accounts and comment pods. Her real audience is maybe 2,000 people, tops. And most of them are other wannabe influencers doing follow for follow. But here's where it gets better. While Josiah was looking into this, he discovered something else. Lily has been running what she calls a consulting business, charging aspiring influencers hundreds of dollars for social media growth strategies. Her entire business model is basically selling the same fake follower packages she used on her own account, marked up by 300%. I didn't respond to her voice note. Instead, I forwarded it to Dad, who's been collecting evidence for the small claims case. He called me immediately. Your brother Eli found something else, he said, sounding exhausted. Remember that investment opportunity Lily was pushing at Christmas? The one where she was promising everyone 30% returns. I remembered. She'd tried to get me to invest $10K in some exclusive marketing collective. I'd declined. Apparently, others hadn't been so lucky. We spent the next hour on a 3-way call with Eli, piecing together a pattern that made my stomach turn. The designer bags weren't just about shopping addiction. They were props. Props for an image she was selling to scam people out of money. Mom still doesn't want to believe it. She showed up at my place yesterday, tears in her eyes, holding a photo album from when we were kids. Look at her here, she said, pointing to a picture of 6-year-old Lily in a princess costume. She was such a sweet girl. Where did we go wrong? I didn't have the heart to tell her that the sweet girl had just DM'd me threatening to tell everyone about my secret gambling addiction, which doesn't exist, if I didn't drop the court case. Speaking of the court case, we had our first hearing date set. Lily's response was to post a 10-minute Instagram story about toxic family members and financial abuse. She even threw in some vague hints about childhood trauma she's not ready to talk about yet. Then came the emails. Pages and pages of business proposals, each more delusional than the last. She'd promote my brand. She'd make me an Instagram success story. She'd feature me in her upcoming masterclass on abundance mindset, only $997 for early birds. Josiah tried to intervene again. He set up a meeting at a coffee shop, thinking neutral territory might help. Lily showed up 2 hours late, carrying a new Chanel bag. Oh, it's just borrowed from a brand partnership I'm doing, she said when she caught me looking at it. The price tag was still partially visible under the strap. She spent the entire meeting pitching her latest scheme, a luxury lifestyle coaching program she wants to launch. All she needs is a small investment of $15K. The $5K she owes me would be deducted from my guaranteed returns. Think bigger than $5K, she kept saying. This is about building generational wealth. Don't you want to be part of something revolutionary? Josiah finally snapped. The only thing revolutionary here is your ability to believe your own lies. She left in tears, but not before telling us we were just jealous of her entrepreneurial spirit. This morning, I got an email from her with a PDF attached. It's a contract offering to settle her debt by making me her business partner. The document is clearly copied from some template she found online. There are still placeholder marks where she forgot to fill in the details. The kicker? She CC'd her legal team on the email. The address? legaleagle123@gmail.com. I forwarded everything to my actual lawyer. Yes, I finally got one. His response was a single laughing emoji, followed by "Don't worry, we've got this." Dad called again tonight. Apparently, Lily's now claiming she's going to represent herself in court because the legal system is rigged against entrepreneurs. She's been watching YouTube videos about sovereign citizens and keeps talking about maritime law. Part of me wants to laugh. The other part remembers that this is my sister, someone I used to share secrets with, someone I once carried on my shoulders so she could see fireworks better at county fairs. But then I see new comments appearing under my old Instagram posts. This user is known for financial fraud. Stay away, known scammer. All from newly created accounts with 0 followers. The court date is next week. Mom stopped taking sides and now just sends daily Bible verses to our family group chat. Dad's documenting everything with frightening efficiency. Josiah's stress baking enough cookies to feed an army. And Lily. She just posted another Instagram story. She's launching a podcast about surviving family betrayal. I should probably mention, She's still using my credit card to pay for her Spotify premium. I only just noticed. At this point, I don't even know what I expect from court. The money seems almost irrelevant now. What I really want is answers, but I'm starting to realize those might be more expensive than $5,000. Finally, update. Sometimes karma needs a little push. Yesterday was court day. Lily didn't show up, at least not at first. Her Instagram story showed her getting a spa treatment to cleanse the negative energy before facing her oppressors. She finally arrived 2 hours late, wearing sunglasses inside and carrying what I now know is a fake Birkin bag. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with what happened the night before court. Remember how I mentioned Josiah works in social media? Well, he's been quietly archiving everything Lily posts. Everything. Including the private close friends stories she thought were only visible to her inner circle. That's how we caught her bragging about her foolproof system for manipulating family members. But here's the real kicker. Dad's friend who's retired from the FBI, he didn't actually retire. He's still active. And it turns out Lily's little consulting business caught some attention when multiple reports of wire fraud started rolling in. I didn't plan for any of this. I just wanted my money back. But when Dad's friend asked if I'd be willing to help build a case, I didn't hesitate. All those Instagram DMs where she's been selling fake follower packages, forwarded. The masterclass payments she's been collecting through fake business accounts, documented. That investment collective she pitched at Christmas, every email preserved. The small claims court judge took one look at our evidence and said, "There's a lot more here than $5,000. He wasn't wrong. Lily walked into that courtroom thinking she was facing a simple civil suit. Instead, she found 2 federal agents waiting with a warrant. Turns out running a pyramid scheme through Instagram isn't just morally bankrupt, it's federal wire fraud. The look on her face when they approached? Priceless. She tried to bolt, but those 5-inch Louboutins, probably fake, didn't get her very far. "This is harassment," she screamed as they read her rights. "I'm an entrepreneur. I'm helping people build wealth. Axel, tell them." I didn't say a word. Just watched as they confiscated her phone, her precious phone with all her business records still intact. Mom wasn't there. She couldn't handle it. But Dad stood right beside me, face set like stone. Josiah was on my other side, quietly filming everything. "For evidence," he said. "And maybe a little for satisfaction." The federal agents found over $200,000 in fraudulent transactions. Minimum. They're still digging. That emergency she needed my $5K for. It was to cover payments to people who were threatening to report her previous scams. The designer bags? Mostly fakes she was selling as real. The brand partnerships she bragged about? Complete fabrication. Even her apartment, the one she was supposedly getting evicted from, wasn't actually hers. She'd been subletting it illegally while collecting rent from 3 other people for the same space. Here's my favorite part. Remember that podcast she launched about surviving family betrayal? The FBI is using it as evidence. Turns out confessing to financial crimes on a public platform isn't the smartest move. After they took her away, her lawyer, a real one this time, court appointed, approached us about making a deal. Dad shut that down fast. The time for deals was before she tried to destroy her brother's reputation. My aunt called this morning, crying. Apparently, Lily scammed her out of $25,000 for an exclusive luxury travel club that doesn't exist. She's not the only one. We're finding new victims every day. Family, friends, followers. No one was off limits. The federal investigation is ongoing, but they're already talking about years, not months. And fines? Let's just say that $5K she owes me is the least of her worries now. Mom finally stopped sending Bible verses. Now she's in therapy, trying to understand how she missed the signs for so long. Dad's been quiet, but he did say one thing that stuck with me. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let someone face consequences. Lily's Instagram is still up, but it's being run by the feds now. They're using it to find more victims. The comments section is enlightening. Turns out I wasn't the only brother she tried to scam. Just the only one who didn't let her get away with it. Some family members think I went too far. They say I could have handled it privately, kept it in the family. But that's exactly the kind of thinking that let her get away with this for so long. The same day they arrested her, I got a notification that she'd tried to log into my Netflix account. Even in handcuffs, she was still trying to take whatever she could get. Yesterday, I changed all my passwords, froze my credit, and blocked her on every platform. Then I took myself out to dinner with the money I would have spent on her birthday gift next month. The restaurant had a sign on the wall, "No refunds for bad decisions." I took a picture and sent it to our family group chat. Dad replied with a thumbs up. Mom left the chat. Josiah asked if I feel bad about how things turned out. I don't. Some people only learn when the consequences are bigger than their excuses. As for the $5K, I'm donating it to a non-profit that educates people about social media scams. Seems fitting. Lily's court date is set for next month. I'll be there, front row. Not because I need to see her face consequences, But because I want her to see mine when she realizes that her biggest mistake wasn't scamming me. It was thinking I wouldn't fight back.